the week? Dare I ask? We working here? Yep. I hope. I'll talk for a moment while we get things adjusted. I know it's been a challenging week for some folks in our congregation. Death is not an event that we look forward to ever. And yet it does come to us, and we just want to remember the Himanic family in a special way. It's a terrible thing that we have to go through, but we can cast all the blame on the devil. We don't cast that blame on God, because He's not responsible. He takes our pain and He brings us hope and comfort. And some of our ladies had surgery this week, and I'm surprised Orville's here, not home helping Ella, but I guess she's doing real well. I know when my wife had knee surgery, she wasn't smiling like Ella was the other day. But anyway, there will be some other moments, and I know I've heard already some other challenges that folks have had in our congregation, and just want to reflect for a moment or two on life and the difficulties we go through. But as we do, let's remember the Lord is there at our side to help us and to strengthen us. So as we look at a few thoughts this morning, or prepare to, let's just pause for a word of prayer. Oh God in heaven, we're grateful that you take away our sorrows and that you give us a heart of joy again. Thank you, Lord, that when we go through times of pain and difficulty and fear, that you're with us. And so, Lord, this morning as we contemplate further on the story that you told, pray that you can open our hearts, and through the infilling of your Holy Spirit, Lord, may you give us new things to think about and new things to question. And so, Lord, we leave ourselves in your care. Bless our thoughts and our minds this morning as we come to you in Jesus' name. Amen. I don't know how many of you in the past have ever seen the Peanuts cartoon comic strips. We've gone from the day and age where we used to open up the newspaper and the first thing we would go to was the comics in the back there somewhere. But some of you will remember them. You can still get them online, but one of the more famous scenes that you will find in those little cartoon strips is this dog Snoopy, and he's usually sitting on top of his doghouse with his typewriter. Again, something that's part of the past. You can't even buy one anymore. And he's always writing stories, and he's typing stories, and he's typing away, and he begins his story. It was a dark and stormy night. And as he's doing that, one time Lucy, another one of the cartoon characters, comes up to him, and she says in her usual forceful way, "You stupid dog! Don't you know that's not how you start a story?" And she really gives it to him. And finally, she just before she leaves, she said, "All good stories begin this way. Once upon a time." And so Snoopy sits back at his typewriter and he starts typing his story. Once upon a time, it was a dark and stormy night. Now, I don't know how many of you are concerned about how a story begins. But we like stories that end with the words, "and they lived happily ever after." I like those stories. They make me feel good. Jesus told a story. Once upon a time, he said, there was a man who had two sons. And we looked at one of those two sons last week. Found some interesting things, I hope you remember what I talked about last week if you were here. But there's two stories, two sons in that story. And so Jesus began, once upon a time, there was a man who had two sons, and one of them asked for his inheritance in advance. And we know the consequence of that. The story begins with separation, despair. It ends up with a young kid crawling home, figuratively speaking, as we would say, with his tail between his legs. And then Dad greets his son with open arms and throws a town-wide party, invites all the friends, invites all of the relatives. Now, what a party that was. And they lived happily ever after. We read some more of that in our scripture story. Is that how the story ends? They lived happily ever after? Not according to my scripture. Now that's how we would like the story to end. But it doesn't. It doesn't. That's not the way Jesus told the story. While one of the sons appears to have lived happily ever after, the other one we don't know. So we tend to airbrush the older brother out of the picture because he spoils the ending of the story. But more than that, and I'm meddling, he sometimes reminds us of ourselves. Let's go to the text again. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. He's a good boy, right? Good boy. When he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house. And he asked one of the servants what was going on. Your brother is back, and your father has killed the fatted calf. We are celebrating because of his safe return. The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father came out. I underline those words for a reason. And begged him, but he replied, all these years I slaved for you. Never once refused to do a single thing. Good boy, right? I never once refused to do a single thing you told me to do. And in all that time, you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. And yet when this son of yours comes back, you celebrate by killing the fatted calf. Now, that's more than going to McDonald's, right? His father said to him, look, dear son, you have always been with me. Everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day, for your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost and is now found. So we've got these two boys. Just a quick rehearsal here. The young son, it's easy to find fault with him, right? We can do that readily. No problem at all. Skid was a scoundrel. He wanted his freedom. He ran away from home, took all the money, squandered it, spent it. He wanted to be away from Dad, but he still liked to have Dad's Visa card. He was self-centered. But this is not a story about a prodigal son. You've heard it always. We refer to it as the story of the prodigal son. Not. This is a story about two prodigal sons. So that's the young boy. One we looked at last week. Wanted his freedom, squandered it. Now the big brother, he comes home and he sizes up the situation pretty quick. Like any good Seventh-day Adventist, and I'm meddling again. I'm going to do a lot of meddling today. Is that okay? Can I do that in this church? Can I meddle? You won't kick me? He gets all squinty-eyed, and he sees what's going on, as I said. What does he see? Ring? New robe? New Reeboks? Roast beef? Reveling and rejoicing. He is mad. He's vexed. He's upset to say the least. Now stop right there. Does the older brother have a point? Think about that. Does the older brother have a point? If you had to choose between the two brothers, which one is right? Which one would you choose? Gotcha, right? I gotcha. Which one would you choose? From our perspective, we would say the older brother is right. He's got a point. Don't you agree? Oh, sure, deep down you probably do. But the way Jesus tells the story, he's wrong. So we got a little bit of a problem. We start to feel uncomfortable because we find ourselves disagreeing with Jesus. What are we supposed to do? Well, let's just look at this old boy. No, that didn't do what it was supposed to. Anyway, he had high moral standards, right? He had high moral standards. If there was one thing we could say about him, was this. He kept all the commandments, right? He did everything right. He said he did. But he kept the church pure. That's okay, right? That's good too, okay? Then we get to the buts. But his service was that of a servant. All these years I have slaved for you. He didn't do it willingly, voluntarily, out of love. I slaved. He was thinking about future profit. He was self-centered. He was, self-centered, preoccupied with his own goodness. You know, high morality sometimes can disguise a sinful heart. I had a church member once upon a time, long ago and far away. He's deceased now, so I can tell his story. He was one that used to love to get up in front of the church, right up here, sing, read scripture, lead out in worship service. On the outside, he looked really good. I found out that wasn't the case. Found out that some other bad things had happened, but he would go to sleep at night with a knife under his pillow and threaten his wife that he was going to kill her. He did all kinds of other things, and one day she pulled out the tape recorder when he was in the bathtub, yelling and screaming and cussing her, and he taped the conversation, and she gave it to me. I never told him what she had done because he would have killed her. He would have. But on the outside, he looked good. He looked good. But he wasn't. No. The last point. He didn't love his brother. Jesus had some interesting things to say about that. We have hate in our hearts, didn't he? He was preoccupied with his own self, with his own record keeping. He kept a record of all of the good things he did, and he told his father, I did all of these things. Once upon a time, long ago and far away, I had another church member. I shouldn't be telling these stories, but I'm sure she's deceased too. But I won't tell any stories about you, okay? I promise. When I leave here, I'm going to retire, and that's the end of it. I'm going to be finished for good. And I'm talking stories 40 years ago type of thing. This one wasn't quite so bad. She and her husband were having a very difficult time. And what she would do is she had a calendar, and every time he did something wrong, she would write on the calendar what he did. Now, I haven't had a lot of training as a counselor, but I know that's not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing. He was constantly reminded of all of the bad things he had done. So this older son, he was kind of like that too. He had his own calendar. I worked hard all day. I put in 12 hours in the field. I did this and I did that. Now, I got to throw two questions at you. Why didn't the older brother go look for his younger brother? Second question. If he had been on the front porch instead of his dad, would he have received his brother? Good questions, right? Good questions. I think they are. We could have titled this story The Ins and the Outs because it's a story of sons in the house and out the house, and in the house and out the house. It's a story of dad in the house and out the house. The older brother in reality is a lawless lawkeeper. Since he didn't love his brother, how did he feel about his dad? It's another good question we could ask. Now, here's another one. I like asking questions. Jesus did this all the time too. With whom did Jesus identify the older brother? Or what connection could one make? The younger brother, last week, remember we identified them most likely as the publicans and the sinners, the bad ones out there, the ones you can see. But who is this older brother? Who does he maybe represent? Well, Pharisees of every age. Self-righteous people who work for hope of reward and don't serve out of love. Leads to being cold-hearted, critical, self-willed, accusing, complaining, justify our own actions. He's not such a nice guy after all. Can I meddle some more? The picture of the older brother might be a picture of the church today. Okay? It's possible. We could draw that connection. And that's why we're uncomfortable. And I don't mean to make you uncomfortable. I didn't tell the story. I hope it has a happy ending. We could ask ourselves, though, is Jesus talking about us? Is it easy to stay in the fields of our own self-righteousness and even refuse to come in when the prodigals are in there? Once upon a time, there was another church. This is another true story, by the way. Pastor friend of mine served there, and they were concerned about keeping the church pure and clean. So they kicked out of the church a few people. The first one was a nurse who had to work on Sabbath. A nurse. They didn't like that, so they had a business meeting and removed her from church membership. Then there was another man who loved to go to hockey games in the evenings, cheer on the local young kids and teams. Church didn't like that, so they called a business meeting and voted him out of membership. Then there was the time when it was a hot day. Once upon a time, it was a hot, warm day. And there was a lady working in her own garden, in her own yard. And because it was a hot day, she was wearing shorts. Someone saw her. And they called a business meeting and voted her out of church membership. I'm glad we don't do those things in Alberta. But it happens. Jesus called us to be fishers of men, not keepers of the aquarium. The Holy Spirit cleans the fish. Sometimes we want to do that. It's not our job. So the difficult cases really are the cases of the older brother. The shiny coins that Jesus talked about in that same chapter, the moral heroes, the ones who don't have any need, don't feel any need, critical, joyless. They don't have any joy. No celebrating. You can always tell people who are working the hardest at perfection by just looking at their face. They're not happy people. They aren't. Every single one of you should be sitting there smiling back at me. I want to see the white of your teeth. Everybody, we're happy people. Jesus implied that the older brother just couldn't handle too much joy. He couldn't take it. He didn't want to be happy. As we look at these stories, then we see that both halves of the story are exactly the same. The father's response is the same. Someone is outside the house. Who is it now? It's Big Brother. Someone is celebrating. Two times that day, the father went outside the house to demonstrate unexpected love. He entreats the older brother exactly the same way as he entreated the younger one. A number of months ago, I remember I preached about the wonderful father. He's really the hero of this story. It's not these two boys. They're both scoundrels. It's really the father and his love. The younger, yes, he was guilty of the sins of the flesh. The older is guilty of the sins of the spirit. And we know sin is sin, right? You do the sins of the flesh and you do the sins of the spirit. They're the same. Sin is sin. They were both guilty. As far as the older brother, at this point in time in the story, he was lost, and he didn't know it. Once upon a time, there was a man who wasn't very bright, wasn't very smart. He couldn't even remember where he would put his clothes. And he was actually afraid to go to bed at night because in the morning he wouldn't be able to find his clothes. So finally he had an idea that he would write down on a piece of paper where everything was, and then in the morning, if he could find the piece of paper, he'd be able to find his clothes. So next morning he was rather pleased with himself. He found the list of where he had put everything. And he went down there and he found cap. And he went and looked, and sure enough, there was the hat where he said it was. Pants. Check down the list. Yep, they were right there where he had left them. We got a slide for that. Then, he was finally dressed and he was pleased with himself. But then he started thinking, found all my clothes, but where am I? Where am I? In vain, he couldn't find himself. The older son was well dressed, but he was lost. Now, you can't Google where are my clothes, right? like that. Can't do that. Well, let's look at a few things. Why didn't that do that to me? I was going to identify them one at a time, but you get the whole bunch. Anyway, he insults his father by not addressing him properly. When you look deeper down at the story, there's more below the surface. I have never disobeyed you. I've been a good boy, Dad. Yeah, right. He indicates the slave mentality. I slaved for you. I have worked. Where is mine? Where's my reward? God, Lord, Dad. He accuses the father of favoritism. We all have stories in our family. Oh, he was the favorite child. He was the favorite daughter. He's throwing that up at Dad. He's the favorite. You never gave me. This kid comes home. And what do you give him? Breaded veal cutlets. Barbecued beef. I never even got a lamb chop. You obviously love this worthless fellow more than you love me. He also declares that he's not part of the family. He shows disgust with his father's house. We could say that the younger guy was an honorable sinner. At least he came home and he admitted his mistakes. He was open with his father. But the older one, he's hypocritical. He's hiding everything. He hangs around the house, but he doesn't like Dad very much. The older brother announces his concept of joy. Going to do it my way. Give me a goat, my buddies. We'll go out and we'll have our own barbecue, away from the home. And the older brother also attacks the younger one. He doesn't love you. Look what he did. He didn't save anything for your old age. He went and spent it all at the casino, at auction sales, buying Lotto 649 tickets. Now, we don't even know if all of that was true. He may have just had a bad business deal. We don't know. But he made all those accusations. See the father's response. He had a right to be furious, but there's only an outpouring of love on the son that's outside the house now. He could have ordered him to come in, right? He could have. Could have got the servants and said, drag that boy in here. He's going to celebrate whether he wants to or not. But he didn't. God doesn't do that to us either. He doesn't drag us into the kingdom. He entreats us by love. He wanted a son. He didn't want a slave. There's no judgment, no criticism, no rejection. Dad bypasses all of those insults and those accusations. And he appeals to the older boy to rejoice at his brother's return. But big brother is just furious. There's a party going on. Again, what shocks me about this story is that we tend, whether we want to or not, identify ourselves with the older brother. And whether we like it or not, sometimes we might be murmuring against the sinners that are out there, the ones that are inside the house seated at the banquet. The Father points out that this servant category is not appropriate. You're the son. You are the heir. Everything I have is yours. When Dad divided that inheritance, that's what happened. The older boy got everything too. In fact, it was custom back then that the older boy got twice as much. That would have been great in my day when I got my little bit of inheritance, because I'm the oldest. I should have got twice as much. But I didn't. I did all the work, and I didn't charge my brothers and sisters for anything. Well, he had everything there. It was all his. Everything. I don't know what else he wanted. So what do we see? Both sons rebel. Both of them. The older and the brother. Both sons break their father's heart. One accepts that he has been found, but the other? Where's the happy ending? Where is it? We don't know. We do know the scripture passage. There's joy in the presence of angels over one sinner who repents. This part of the story tells us this: our willingness to rejoice becomes a mark of an authentic relationship with the Father. Be willing to rejoice. So summing things up. Sometimes we may be a little bit like the younger brother. We may have done what the younger brother did. But we need to hear that no matter how much we sin, God, our Heavenly Father, is there with open arms, waiting to welcome us home and to receive us. Other times we may behave like the older brother, filled with a little bit too much of self-righteousness. We don't want to fellowship, cannot love. We may claim to be a son, but we don't love our brother. It's another thing the story tells us. We refuse the obligations of a brother. We may serve the Father faithfully, but not be in fellowship with him. It is possible to be an heir and to have less joy and liberty than one who possesses nothing. Even the servants were happier than the older brother. They were in there having a good time, rejoicing. They ate, they drank, they danced, they laughed. While he was standing outside the house demanding more when he already had everything. An unforgiving spirit may keep the older brother from the love of the Father, the love of the brother, and the joy of the servants. What we know from this story is that the Father is, our Heavenly Father is standing outside his house, in his house, waiting with open arms to receive us, regardless of which one of the two sons we may be. Is there a happy ending to our story? Well, you know what? That depends on us. That depends on us. Not everything in this life has a happy ending, but this life is not the end of the story. And it's not the end of our story. So, I leave you again with that question. Will there be a happy ending to the story for us? I leave it to you. Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we can't help but be amazed at how loving you are. And regardless of which path we take in life, you are standing there with open arms to receive us. Help us, Lord, that we can come into your house, that we can celebrate, and that we can be joyful. And Lord, may we bring our brothers and our sisters with us. In Jesus' name we pray.